Hey everybody, Seth Smiley from the Parents of Teen Drivers Facebook group. I wanted to come to y'all today to talk about an interesting subject, something that I kind of see fairly regularly. I actually got some cars going on in the background, but this is about modifications to vehicles. So, you know, as we get older, we like stock vehicles, but as teenagers and young folks, I remember even wanting to have big old jacked up trucks or tires or speakers or all these things in the car, and I didn't really know how dangerous they were. And so I did some research on it, and you know, things like booming sound systems, the people know that they have the bass and everything going on. Those create hazards for not only the hearing of the people in the car, but it also creates a hazard for when you're driving down the road. You can't hear emergency vehicles going by. You can potentially breach noise ordinances, and so the driver of the car can get a ticket, and so that's always a negative thing. One thing that's really popular right now, and I see it all the time, is the LED lights all over the car, like in the rims or in the grill or whatever. Those actually can be on the safer side, because anyone can see that vehicle coming from very far away because it's lit up like Christmas. But they also can potentially blind other drivers on the road temporarily, which is kind of like having your brights on or something like that. And so if the lights weren't designed properly or installed properly, that can be a safety hazard. Another one that we see a lot, especially here in the South, are lift kits on big trucks, which can potentially be illegal if you go too high, which can get somebody a ticket, or if you get into an accident, it's kind of a twofold, right? So the vehicle has been lifted, so the bumper is at a different trajectory on other cars. A lot of people think it makes them safer, which potentially it might, but if you get into an accident and the car rolls over, it actually has a higher likelihood of rolling over, which makes it less safe. So that's something that we want to avoid, or lift kits and things like that, because they can make the car less safe. Loud pipes on a car, they're actually a little bit safer if you have them on a motorcycle, because it lets people know the motorcycle's around. But on a vehicle, it can breach a noise ordinance. But then some of the way those things are designed can either improve performance, which may make the vehicle more hazardous, or they can restrict performance, even though you think that they're improving it because of the way the air flows and everything. So that's a negative. I've seen some modifications where people will have the scissor doors on the side, or the wing doors, like the things that Ferraris and Lamborghinis have. I've read reports where emergency responders could not get people out of a vehicle because of the way the hinges were. They didn't know that their Mazda or their Toyota was supposed to have scissor doors, and they couldn't get the person out in time. So that's a very dangerous modification that people have. The lowering kits, the ones that actually bring the car lower to the ground, those modifications are very dangerous, because you're actually changing not only the geometry of the vehicle, but you're affecting the suspension, and any big bumps or anything that you hit can potentially damage the car, which could swerve off the road or do whatever to make you more in a more hazardous environment. The thing that kind of goes along with that are the giant rims. I was actually reading some things that, if the people who have the big rims on the vehicle and the small tires, it affects the geometry of the suspension. And so if you're driving down the interstate and you need to make a quick change, or down the road and you need to change the lane quickly, it can actually cause you to have more damage to your vehicle, or swerve off the road, or get in a one-car accident, something like that. So and then the last but not least is the one that's been around for ages, and that's tint. There's certain elements of tint that is legal, certain percentages, and that can cause the car to be cooler and everything. People tend to go and exceed that with limo tint or various things, and that is extremely dangerous, especially if you're driving at night. It allows you to not see other vehicles. So again, these are 8 dangerous modifications that people tend to do to their car often. And if anybody has any questions or comments of how modifications to a vehicle either helped or hurt them, please feel free to leave it here. And again, Seth Smiley from the Smiley Law Firm for Parents of Teen Drivers Group. Thank you.